Jim Kroshus, Crossroad. Crossroad, Jim Kroshus.
Who rescued you? Who was that hero that stood at your crossroad? More telling, who have you rescued? How many crossroads have you made or missed? I've missed way too many crossroads. I've had more heroes than I deserve. I was rescued as a teenage boy, no father figure, no direction, no discipline. I was plucked off of that destructive road by an old farmer. He pointed my feet in the right direction. Crossroad, check. I met my hero, Bob Hyde, at a church dance in Fallon, Nevada. He was the chaperone. I missed many a crossroads at these church dances for sure. It wasn't my fault. It was on account of my friends. We were so cool. We were in a league all our own. I learned later, nobody wanted to join our league. We'd only dance with the cutest girls. Sure, there were girls there at the dance that rarely, if ever, danced. They called girls like her, those girls, wallflowers. Her name was Elva. At age 30, I was rescued by a registered nurse. As she was on her way home, she passed by the Rayleigh's grocery store. She entered and saw crumpled there on the floor that little old change lady that nobody knows. Massive heart attack. Her years of experience took over. She checked for a pulse. There was none. With 3 massive blows to the chest and 2 cracked ribs, that little old change lady's heart began again its rhythmic beat. Crossroad. Check. The phone rang. If you want to see your mother alive, you better get down to the hospital. It was my sister Susie, never the blunt one. Mother was still alive, not doing well. She regained consciousness for 3 days and passed on the 4th. On the day of Mom's funeral, sadly, still no tears. I didn't know if I had it in me to cry. I was rescued again. That old farmer walked into my mother's viewing. He felt safe. Like a flood, the tears finally came. I felt so much love for him. It was that love that finally allowed me, nay, compelled me to let go. Crossroad? Check. Bob looked at my mother. That's your mother? I didn't know she was your mother. I must have said hello to her 100 times. I didn't know she was your mother. I didn't know. Bob had frequented Rayleigh's nearly weekly. Every time he passed by that little old change lady that nobody knew, he always said hello. She was pleasant enough. He never did stop to talk, nor did he notice her name tag. She always smiled and returned his greeting with a friendly hello. Crossroad missed. Lest we are critical of Farmer Bob, I've missed more crossroads than I've made. Have you? I've been more of a heel than a hero. I'd be lying if I told you I gave a lot of thought when I'd see that girl at the dance, never dance. I did feel sorry for her. I wish someone would be nice to her and ask her to dance, other than her brother. It was so awkward having her there, watching all of us dance. I'm not the only one that felt that way. The girls would say, why does she even come? She ought to stay home and knit or go bowling or something. Crossroad missed. There wouldn't be wallflowers like her if there weren't wallflower makers like me. I knew deep down it would make her day if I asked her to dance. I never did. At least I did think about it once. She always stood by the door. Always by the door, her safe place every time I walked by. Hello, Jim. I must have said hello to her 100 times. I never did stop to talk. At least I said hello. Just like that little old change lady, she always smiled. Her eyes, those eyes, could never hide her pain. Her dad picked her up one night. Elva, did you get to dance? No, Daddy, I didn't dance. They cried together. I stood at that crossroad, ashamed. Mother passed away, and anyone who needed to make peace with her had their opportunity. Sadly, I'd never dropped one lousy tear over a death of a loved one until I was rescued again that day by that old farmer. Those were the first tears I ever shed over a loved one passing. The love in our family was buried so deep down that even death couldn't uncover it. Like the song, somehow love found a way. Love always finds a way. The registered nurse who went into Rayleigh's that cold winter's night gave our family a gift, 3 precious extra days. The time was vital. Sadly, I had siblings who hadn't spoken to my poor mother in years over silly things, even though they lived on the same street. The extra time allowed hearts to soften. Crossroad check. If I could go back and have a redo, I'd go back to high school on a Friday night. Where would you go? Who would you see? I'd go to a church dance in Fallon, Nevada. I'd walk right through that door to that safe place, and I'd dance with a girl named Elva, who became an RN, who went into Rayleigh's that cold winter's night and gave our family those 3 extra days with that little old change lady that nobody knew. Elva, the chances that you'll ever hear this story are rather remote. Still, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for being at my crossroad when I could not. I'm so sorry I would not be at yours. I owe you a dance. My grandchildren have all heard the story about a girl named Elva who stood at a crossroad. Elva, I hope someone asked you to dance. As you leave here today, nearly every person you meet will be standing at a crossroad. The busboy, the waitress, the maid, the janitor, the wallflower. As you pass by, maybe even a little old change lady. Will you? How about you? And you? Will you? Crossroad? Check.